So what I want to do is discuss the issue I have with Deadpool, and it's not really an issue with him, but an issue with the way people see him. Now, Deadpool has reached a multitude of fans, casual and hardcore alike. He's in video games and he has his own movie. Who would have thought that? Like, seriously, who the hell would have thought Deadpool would have his own movie? It was only a dream like a few years ago, and now it's a reality. But with his success, I believe an issue has risen due to who the character has become. The issue at hand is that Deadpool is seen as this this fourth wall breaking Merc who is wacky and zany and kind of just ridiculous, and he's not able to cross over into films like X-Men or Wolverine. I kind of have a problem with this because I believe we as fans and the broader audience put Deadpool in a one-dimensional character bubble where all we see is this particular version of the character, when multiple interpretations of his character have been toned down to fit a particular story, or it's still the same character just minus the fourth wall breaking because there's a lot more going on with him that's much more layered. When Deadpool first showed up in New Mutants number 98, he was met with a lot of praise. His character was loud, talkative, and a breath of fresh air. And from there on, he appeared in titles such as Avengers, Daredevil, and Heroes for Hire. It wasn't until 1993 where we would see Deadpool get his own miniseries titled The Circle Chase. Mind you, during this time, he was doing just fine without breaking the fourth wall. People were still fans of him, and it was not a part of his character. During Deadpool's first few years, his writers consisted of Fabian Nicieza and Mark Waid. But it wasn't until 1997 that things really began to change for the character. So, Joe Kelly steps onto the scene, and he becomes a writer of Deadpool. And he starts to write him as an action comedy character, and Deadpool becomes a parody of the heavy drama, anti-hero heavy comics of that time. Then here you saw the introduction of Blind Owl and his best friend Weasel. Then Deadpool started to become less of a villain and more of a pop culture machine. Joe Kelly felt that since the book was going to be canceled anyway, that they might as well do whatever the hell they wanted. And it was here that Kelly introduced the idea of Deadpool breaking the fourth wall.
Fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls.
By issue 37, Christopher Priest stepped in, and he felt that it was okay to make Deadpool look stupid. He had an issue with Joe's previous issues on the character, and he felt that they were too complex and hostile to new readers like himself and other people. So what Priest did was he established breaking the fourth wall as an essential part of Deadpool's personality and his worldview. And when Gail Simone stepped in the early 2000s, she introduced the yellow boxes, those little yellow boxes that you see when Deadpool talks and whatnot. And now we have a full-fledged, crazy fourth wall breaking kind of guy. So what's your problem, Darius? Why are you hating on Deadpool breaking the fourth wall so much? It's a part of who he is. It's because it wasn't to begin with, and now it's become all that he is, even though there are a multitude of moments where he has outshined even the stereotypical bubble that he's been put into. And I'm going to give you guys a few examples of that. The first comes from an Elseworld comic called Deadpool Pulp, written by Adam Glass and Mike Benson, with art by Lawrence Campbell and covers by my homeboy Jay Lee. In this particular story, we focus on Wade as an assassin / mercenary in the 1950s. Now, he has psychological problems, and it's still obvious that he's crazy because he has voices in his head, and those voices are what talk to him, and those are the thought bubbles that we see, and those are the captions that we see as he tries to deal with himself on a much more emotional and personal level. But it's still Deadpool as we know him. He's still crazy, it's just that he's not breaking the fourth wall, and he has a lot of psychological issues. Another example is the way Deadpool is with his family, with his daughter, and just with people, and the way he interacts with people that he loves and that he cares about. This is a side of him that shows that you don't have to always break the fourth wall to make Deadpool Deadpool, because he surprises you in so many different ways, because there are moments where he steps out of that stereotypical bubble and becomes more than just what he's generally known for. And this is what I mean by incorporating that kind of Deadpool into films like X-Men, into a Wolverine film, into a much more darker film that may take itself a lot more seriously. And you can have Deadpool to either counteract the seriousness but still be within the realm of the tone of that film, or you could have him toned down and still have him be him. Finally, I want to mention his role in X-Force and how beautifully written and well executed his character was in that entire run, where yes, Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, but he does so in a way that's subtle, that still stays within the confines of the story. But at the same time, Deadpool does something that not many heroes in, I believe, the history of comics can say that they've truly really done. Deadpool becomes an anti-hero kind of loser in a way, becomes the father figure to someone who's practically a god. He becomes a father figure to Kid Apocalypse. He's the one that when Kid Apocalypse was on the edge of becoming the Apocalypse, he's the one that talked him down. He's the one that stood by him. He's the one that braved even death to bring up Kid Apocalypse back and keep him as a child and keep him as someone who knows who himself and knows who he is and doesn't have to follow the path of destruction that is either that was prophesied for him or that he's forced to live out. So Deadpool has transcended to a status of high praise, but like Superman, we only see one direction for this character, and that's the dilemma I believe we have, is that we don't allow characters that we love to explore themselves. And fans are afraid of change. New things can be scary, that's totally understandable. But we have to allow Deadpool to grow, and we have to support the stories where he's not always crazy and stupid, where he's someone who is a special person in someone else's life, where he's someone who can be a father figure and still be taken seriously. You know, because that's who the character is. At the end of the day, Deadpool is someone who really wants to be loved, and that's why he tries his best to show compassion to the people in his life who he does care about, because it's so few and far in between. With that said, I'm going to bring this video to a close. It has been a pleasure presenting this to you all. If you liked what you saw today, please like, comment down below, and subscribe, and we can have a conversation about this as well, because I'm always open to see how if other people kind of feel the same way, or if you disagree, or if you think that the fourth wall thing should always be the case if he's presented in films, because this is mainly about his presentation in films and how the future of that looks going forward. This has been another Speak Geek Dilemma video. I'm your host, Darius Morgan. Peace out.